Hello and welcome to Forza Horizon 5. Let's go! We're back in the studio with Playground Games and I'm joined by some wonderful guests. I'll be your host, Leah, for the entire, or Leah Vyson if you want the full unnecessary title, for the entire show today. And we've got a pretty jam-packed update because it's Rami's racing history. Rami's going to be taking us all on a journey throughout the decades, with each season focused on a period of automotive history. Should we do less talking and more content? Let's see what's actually coming up in today's show, shall we? First up, we will be signing up for Rami's history lesson with the festival playlist. If you don't want a history lesson, tough, you got one, and you're going to enjoy it. We also got a brand new Horizon story called Made in Mexico for you to enjoy. And I'm getting some news come in about a Forzathon shop sale. See if I can get some more up-to-date news on that from our correspondent. And then we'll be taking a look at the latest cars coming with this update in depth, in excruciating detail, in delicious detail. The team will be delivering an update on leaderboards, as we teased earlier in Forza Monthly, if you were watching that. And we'll have some fixes for some bugs, and we might even have time to slot in a quick peek of what's coming up next. What's coming soon? Well, let's first of all introduce our guests on the show today here in the studio with me. We've got, first of all, Torben Ellert, the senior game designer. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's great to be back on the show. Looking forward to talk about Rami's racing history, new stories, new cars. Just have fun with the game.
It's a pleasure to have your expertise here with us again.
Well, expertise is a strong word.
Well,
I'll do my best.
I hope. You always have really interesting facts every time I've seen you,
yes.
Especially earlier.
You're throwing me under the bus here.
I am definitely throwing you under the bus. That's my job. And next year we have Chris Phillips, of course, the vehicle content supervisor at Playground. Hello again. Welcome.
Hello again.
Studio. It's a lot warmer than it was an hour ago.
Yeah.
We're melting.
Yeah.
We're fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
It's fine. We're fine.
Help.
Guys, please help. Please help. And of course, next to Chris, Tom Butcher, once again, lead producer. Hello again.
Hey,
welcome. A regular on Let's Go and.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately for the viewers, yeah.
We'll let the viewers decide if it's unfortunate. Well, Rami's racing history, we heard a little bit about that in Forza Monthly, a little bit about some of the content that is coming with the update. But Torben, you can talk us through a bit more detail about what exactly it is and why you've done things this way this month. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
More than happy to. So let's take a quick look at that, shall we? So just remembering what buttons do what. Bringing up Festival Playlist. So the way we think about making Festival Playlist and the series updates for our game is from a theme. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing a lot of work to kind of improve the way that we can show those themes and speak to them and create kind of a more entirely built experience. So things like adding a little bit of VO that triggers when you come into Festival Playlist, that's all part of it. It's just a little bit of polish, a little bit of additional delight to make the experience stand out.
Yeah.
So Rami's racing history, that's kind of the top level conceit that we have for this series. And what it basically means is that we've kind of drilled into the two parts of that. One of them is racing history. So the individual weeks of the series, summer, autumn, winter, and spring, are all themed to a time period of racing. Summer is everything before the 70s and so on. We'll talk about those as we go through it.
We will.
The other big part of it is of course, Rami, who is the host of a new Horizon story that we're putting into the game with this update. We'll dive into cars that are made in Mexico. So the story, of course, is called Made in Mexico.
Makes a lot of sense. It's all coming together.
Right.
Wow.
Yes. Absolutely. But let's jump into that and take a look at it. But just before we do that, Chris, there are a couple of cars right here at the front. One of them is particularly interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. So the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
we spoke about the other one.
It's the only one there. I don't see any other car there on the screen, actually.
So we spoke about the 300 SLR earlier on the monthly. So we mentioned it's 143 million credits in the auto show, but yours for just 160 festival points. Mm-hmm.
But you said it's in the auto show as well, right?
Yeah. 143 million in the auto show for players who are feeling flush or pick it up for cheaps here.
That's a bit of a theme through this Festival Playlist as well. There are a lot of cars
there are
up for grabs
and some very good prices.
Yes, absolutely. But let's kind of step into that and have a little bit of a look at the first week of the upcoming series, which is the period of racing that we're covering here is everything up to the 70s. So what this means is that the cars you'll be driving, the experiences you'll be taking on, all kind of in that space, an opportunity to get some of those classics out and see what you can do with them. We've obviously got Rami's Racing history hosting Made in Mexico here. It's moved to the start of Festival Playlist. One of the things, so we constantly think about how we can work up changes to Festival Playlist, both in terms of the events, but also just in terms of the layout of it to make it a little bit more approachable. And it always felt a little bit weird that the stuff that was month-long lived all the way over at the right.
Yeah.
So we moved it over to the left, and we'll be looking at how that works. If people have opinions about that, surely not on the internet.
No.
Just let us know, because we spent a
They
lot
already
of time
are.
reading.
They already are.
Yes.
No, don't check your inbox.
No. But a couple of Rivals events that are obviously feature the returning Forza EV. Good, I remembered the name there. Great. Otherwise, that was going to be embarrassing. He said, digging himself deeper into a hole. Moving on. Talking about the period up to the 70s and starting out with some of the changes we've made to the events. The trial, for example, is another stock trial. So no upgrades on the cars. So that situation where perhaps someone in your team hasn't got a great upgrade on their car, you don't need to worry about that. Something that we did previously, it landed quite well. People seem to have liked it. So we may do that again in the future, just to see how that lands. If we move over to the seasonal PR stunts, a couple of things here. First of all, people may wonder what River Run is. It's a new seasonal PR stunt that's being added to the game for this series only. So if you want to go out and take on River Run, it's in the game for about a month, and then it will be leaving again. But all of the PR stunts are set up such that you can use the same car for every PR stunt in this week. Because we were seeing some feedback from people, it's like, I kind of want to stay in the same car and do the experience in the same car, so we've set that up. Doesn't mean it's going to be like this permanently, but it's like, we'll see how people respond to it. They can absolutely bombard us with their opinions about it, and we'll see how it moves forward from that. But just looking at just the seasonal PR stunts and championships here, there's an absolute spread of cars on offer. In fact, there's only one of them that doesn't have a car as a reward. So absolutely get stuck in, fill out those gaps in your car collection, and just race through the events.
Very generous season, isn't it? Really, very
Yeah,
generous.
it is. It is
You get
really
a lot of different car-based experiences.
Yes,
there.
like Duck Quack.
Yes, my favourite.
Absolutely excellent experience. But yeah, let's step over to autumn. And Tom, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we've got a returning to Forza Horizon car. We've got the Commodore VK there, which we're going to be taking a look at later for 20 points. And we've got the Truno as well at 40 points. And then our weekly, it's obviously, this is 70s and 80s. So you've got that absolutely iconic Escort RS, and you're going to be taking that through all the things that it's great at, which is mostly rallying and off-road fun and shenanigans. And then moving forward, we've got another stock showdown trial, but this time you're going to be in the RS200, and you're going to get yourself an 81 Fiesta. So again, all the rewards and restrictions are going to be themed around 70s and 80s. And we've got a new speed zone in this season as well.
It's the
Green Hills Speed Zone. Green Hills, yeah.
Is it perhaps a zone where one should go fast?
You should absolutely go fast in that. If you want to earn yourself the Volvo 242 Turbo, which Giuseppe loves that car, so he'll be delighted that's in there. And I just wanted to shout out to Totally Tubular.
Totally Tubular.
Seasonal Championship. Not sure if that phrase was around in the 70s, but
It's probably like the 70s were bad.
Chris is wistfully looking off in the distance, like he was alive in the 70s. And if you want the leaf pattern leather boots, and I know some of you do, you want to get that hashtag Ready to Rock photo challenge. And again, that is themed around the 70s and 80s, the 79 Chevrolet Camaro Z28.
That is autumn.
Can we also point out Ice Maybe?
Ice Maybe
Thank
is
you.
strong.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
pretty
strong.
I'm glad that's there.
Yeah, obviously we didn't mention this at the start, but if you've done the last series festival playlist, you'll be no stranger to the fact we've got Hot Wheels events that you can use to get yourself those rewards, or not. You could just focus on the regular.
Towards that ludicrously good bargain.
Yes, yeah, actually, yes. And yeah, that can just give you those points that will get you over the edge. Or you can do everything in the mainland in Mexico if you want to.
Absolutely. Okay, so stepping forward to the noughties and looking at the cars on offer there. I promised I wouldn't say that,
It's
but
awful,
I
isn't
cannot
it?
be
It's just
controlled.
awful. Naughty.
I cannot be controlled. I cannot be stopped. The Horizon Story that we'll get back to in a moment also has a car on offer. This is the Forza edition of the Myers Max, which is featured in the story. You can maybe trouble Chris for a story about that later, or not. Though, just want to call out the absolute rally hero here.
Drift Hero.
Drift Hero is what I was trying to say, but rally was stuck in my brain, so let's push through that. And this is all themed around pulling off absolutely classic rally. I said it again. Drifting and street racing experiences. My God,
Please send
broken.
Torben your energy. He's very good.
It's my brain. It's the heat. Energy is evaporating out of me. But absolutely classic drift skills, street racing, and pulling off stunts in drift zones. He said, not saying rally zones.
Shout out to that daily challenge as well. No signal. We talked about this in rehearsal.
Yes.
I can tell you won't expect me to say it on the live show, but I'm going to do it anyway.
You cannot be stopped.
Pretty sure that that has to be a reference. This is 90s and noughties.
Yes,
reference to the
boxes.
death of the phone box and the rise of the mobile phone.
Yes, absolutely. The rise of the giant brick.
Yeah.
You used to have to bring 50 pence with you when you went anywhere, so you could call home,
Exactly.
call your mum, or reverse collect call or something.
Reverse charge call. Yeah.
I also love running in the 90s as well. That's great. That's great.
Seven Wonders, Winter, as in. Yes,
I'm sure they're not all as good as that one, but
that's why they're the two top ones.
Absolutely. Another shout out to Unworthy Pleb, who continues to deliver great stuff that is absolutely wonderful. This particular event is delivering the So Cute emote that was announced last.
It was it was shown off. It was teased because you couldn't get it in the last series.
But now you can get it.
Rami's Racing History has bought So Cute emote, and it is so cute.
Yes, though do be on the lookout for the technical swamp section.
I'm so glad he warned us about.
I have no idea what that means. This is the third time I'm hearing it, and I'm so curious.
By
design. I'm sure he's intended that.
Absolutely.
Or she.
Yes. Though, always delighted to see what people do with our UGC tools.
100%.
Going just across the board of amazing and unpredictable, wonderful experiences.
And unworthy pleb, shall we say?
Yes,
very worthy pleb.
Yes,
very
fast becoming.
Yeah.
Another range of cars to pick up. It's so many cars. It's almost like we're just throwing cars around us. Everyone gets a car. Again, the same theme here. You'll be able to use the same car across all of these PR stunts. So build a car that's going to do as much as possible, and see if you can get a car that will do as many different kinds of events as once. That's something that I like to do. Build a car that will do a dirt speed zone and an asphalt speed zone, and see if you can optimize it to be in that space. Fun little challenge there, because life isn't difficult enough. Treasure hunts and photo challenges, and taking on the battle royale, the eliminator as well.
And if you're feline, like you want to take on those two.
Wow, let's push on, Tom.
Two cat themes. Shout out to Kelly for those.
I was going to also say, CU Saloon's a good one as well.
That is good. That is good.
Wow. Anyways, pushing on, spring and the final week of the series.
Yeah, spring will arrive, and we've got the X-Fung that we looked at on Forza Monthly. As I mentioned, as promised, I don't let people down usually. 20 points, you'll get yourself that. And at 40 points, we've got another returning to Forza Horizon car, the BMW E92. The weekly challenge is, again, we're now in 2010 onwards. So we've got the 2012 Lotus Exige, it's just making the bar for 2010 onwards. And you're going to be doing a load of race-type activities around and just driving it as fast as you can. Then the trial, the stock Shogun, stock showdown, McCann RS. You can get yourself the Honda Civic. It's a very cool picture as well. Shout out to the UI team for those. And yeah, a selection of 2010 modern cars. We've got the Maserati Levante, the M5, the 2018 M5, Porsche Cayman, and the Lotus Exige. So you can do that speed zone, get yourself an Exige, and then you can do the weekly Forzathon with it. Synergy.
You're loving that word today.
I love it every single day, honestly.
No, this is the most important part.
This is the most important part.
Yeah.
I can't see chat right now. I'm sure they're screaming for the Watermelon Crew socks. If you were wondering where they are, hashtag New Car Smell. If you photograph the 2020 Toyota GR Supra, which we had in the studio, didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't have Watermelon Crew socks in the studio, unfortunately. But you can get that by doing the photo challenge there. And we also have our collectibles. So in spring, we're going to have golden trophies littered around the resort and golf course. There's also a little Easter egg podium set up near the hotel as well, see if you can find that. And yeah, you get yourself the Formula Drift 599 if you can find 20 golden trophies. And I believe in you. I think you can do it.
Yeah, okay.
Wow,
that's all we needed. Belief of Tom. Thank you. All right, well, if you've got a keen eye or you've a keen ear, perhaps, you will have noticed that there is a couple of things in there that point towards some evolving world changes in the speed zones in particular. Got some Sonic references, some other references in there as well, if you're a bit of a gamer. So what is an evolving world, really?
Right. Evolving World is me handing this no traction control car off to Chris. Yes, so Evolving World is kind of our internal term for changes that we make to the world series on series. Because one of the big changes that we made to the game for 5 was our ability to actually change what was in what we call the free roam world, the world that you just experience as you drive around.
Yeah.
People will have seen this for things like with the ice rink or Christmas, things that appear in the free roam world. But this is the first time that we've used it to add a speed zone to the world. So Chris, if you want to tear your attention away from the car and bring up the map and take us over towards the stadium. And over to the left of the stadium, there is a brand new speed zone down there, and that is River Run.
There we go. So we've got a speed zone.
So a couple of things to note about this is that it's a pre-1970s C-class car, but all the other seasonal PR stunts will also use the car. So build a really cool car, try and do all the speed zones in that.
There you go.
All the PR stunts in it.
Unlike a lot of the races you'll get in an update like this, you don't have it handed to you. You have to actually look at what you need to do to achieve this and create the car, make everything before you do the speed zone. Otherwise, it won't work.
Exactly. And you can totally go through the speed zone and get a leaderboard entry because it's available for the entire month. But in this particular configuration where you have to hit 82 miles an hour in a C-class car, that's only available for the duration of this week.
There you go. So, yeah, things you can find in the world that have changed a little bit. If you keep an eagle eye out, you might find out a couple more of those speed zones. And a little bit of a different sort of challenge, which is always nice, isn't it? If you've explored the map a lot, then it's nice to find something a bit different to do. And that is something you can find if you enjoy your PR stunts. You can find those next week when Rami's Racing History launches. Has it got any accolades associated with them? Wait, accolades? What is it?
Accolades. Yeah, but before we collapse into that, no, because dull technical thing. We try not to add content that like presupposes things that are moving in and out of the game.
Right.
And because we're planning to have these only be available for the period of the series, having an accolade that would depend on that just is bad for a lot of reasons. So we don't have any accolades for that particular.
Having a ghost of an achievement that you can't
exactly.
really get.
Exactly, that's no fun.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, let's get back to Series 6 then. We had our first New Horizon story in Forza Horizon 5, and with this update, Rami's bringing us another. So we have Made in Mexico. We touched upon that quite briefly about what that is. It's vehicles made in Mexico. But let's go into a bit more depth. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Simple.
You want to fast travel us over there?
Yeah.
Cool. So, and don't, let's look at the chapter list.
Yeah, I know, in rehearsals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the story's actually, inspired by one that we did for Horizon 4 that was called British Racing Green, that was focused on cars made in the UK and the kind of associated racing and car culture history that I know was really delightful for me to kind of dig into and read about and learn a little bit about the place that cars have in the history of a country. So we've done exactly the same thing for Mexico. So it's a range of cars, a range of experiences, really going from really quite modern stuff like the Voul and the Mach-E through absolute classics like the Baja and the Vocho.
Yeah.
So a real opportunity for us not only to talk a little bit about the history of cars in Mexico, but also just have some really wild and out there experiences. Chris, do you want to have another shot at Viva El Vocho?
I'm going to get 2 stars.
Okay, yes. Okay.
So this is Torben's choice. Torben would like us to do Viva El Vocho. This is the chapter that...
This is me choosing this.
Yes.
Obviously, we've debug unlocked them, so we have them all available. Normally, you have to play through them one by one. But this is a celebration of 2 things, really. One of them is what the Vocho means in Mexico. It's a part of automotive culture there. The car was embraced with delight when it arrived from Europe. Because prior to this, cars in Mexico were giant American cars. So this really uniquely styled car that came out of nowhere and suddenly placed really well in the Panamericana and was the kind of car that you could repair if you could fix a tractor. It just stood out in a way that other cars absolutely didn't. So the experience that we've put here, though, is actually inspired by a piece of concept art that we had way back at the beginning of the project. That was a bunch of Beetles just absolutely hammering it through Guanajuato. So when we were kind of ideating and designing what this experience was going to be, we thought, how would it be to have a bunch of Beetles just smashing it through the city? And it's like, normally on races, we're quite forgiving with racification and corners. This race is not that.
No, threw that out the window.
Right, this race is quite, I think you called it trolly?
Yes.
The races we're up against here, people who've played a bunch of the stories will recognize them as some of the Born Fast races.
Oh, okay.
And another thing that was a lot of fun here to do was to look at making the story a bit responsive to whether or not you've met them before. Because the game's been out for a while now, so we do need to think there are players who have encountered these characters and players who have not. So the VO kind of takes that into account and factors in whether or not you know who these people are, given the fact that they are apparently more than Horizon willing to take shortcuts and things like that. The kind of experience that you typically wouldn't see in a race that we would make, but in the context of a story where we can kind of open things up and embrace the madness and the chaos.
Look at some of these corners.
Right.
This one.
That was mean.
Down some stairs.
Okay. Right.
Yay.
Okay. Yes. Okay. You're into the lead now. Good. You're ahead.
Very good.
This is also the first time that we've done multi-car races like this and had traffic as like an additional spice for the experience that you're going into.
Because it wasn't spicy enough as it is.
No. It was far too easy.
Yeah, of course.
What did you call this one? Uprise into blind left?
Which I think is here, isn't it?
Remember the
There
corner?
it is.
Yeah, it's remembered.
Right. Yes. So a thing that I really enjoy with what Horizon stories offer, right? It's the unexpected. You don't know what really is waiting for you in the next chapter.
Right.
And just leaning into that and embracing it. And we can't hear it here because obviously we have it all switched off. But Rami is telling us about the Vocho's history in Mexico as we play this. I would rewind there.
Oh no.
No, we
Always rewinded. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's too late though.
Yes, you've got to get those 2 stars.
Absolutely. Oh, it's on track.
Yeah. Yes. I'll be honest. This is a spicy one. So please do not DM me, and please.
Yeah.
Please do,
Set your
please do.
expectations. This is a tricky one.
No, please don't.
Oh,
but yeah.
7 seconds to get the 2 stars. Can you do it? 3. Hey!
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Wonderful. That's 3 stars though. That's
Now,
dastardly.
a thing I will say here is that stories respect the driver difficulty that you set. So, if you're finding a chapter particularly difficult, V10, reduce the driver difficulty and it will be a lot easier.
There we go. Just a little hint from the top there.
Just a little hint. Yeah.
And why couldn't I get 3 stars on this one? Do you want to give us hints to that?
Yes. Well, it's actually in the VM because it's it's not really a race. And Rami says this as you drive along with him. So if you want to, if you want to, you can just head straight for the destination. But you'd best know Guanajuato really well, because the blue line won't take you there. So if you know the shortcuts, just
don't be afraid of using them. use your knowledge. All that driving around you've been doing, you can use it to your advantage.
So a new Horizon story, permanent part of the game. It'll be unlocked for everyone as a part of this series, and there will be festival playlist progression points for completing it. But it will unlock for everyone who has completed at least one expedition. It maps lands. It's a little bit south of the reservoir, up in the Green Hill Zone, and is a really fun dive into the wide range of cars that have been made in ESCO.
Absolutely. Learn a bit of history, kind of contextualize yourself in the game a little bit.
Slide a bit sideways, have some poor network conditions. It's amazing.
You got it all, baby. What can't you do? Well, thank you so much for that, Torben. That is fascinating, and I hope everybody who dives in enjoys it. A little bit of something a bit different. But now, let's move on, because back in Forza Horizon 4, occasionally we would see prices in the Forza-thon slashed mercilessly. Now, we've not had a proper sale in the Forza-thon shop in Mexico, but that is about to change, because luckily I've got someone with me who knows a thing or two about sales. Joining us in the studio is Mr. Tommy Bargains. Welcome, Tommy.
Thanks, Leah. Tommy's pleased to be here, and I know a thing or two about cameras, let me tell you.
It's this camera, Tommy.
Tommy knows a thing or two about cameras, let me tell you. So Tommy's got an absolute ding-dong deal for you. So every Wednesday starting 24th of August, you're going to be getting some of Tommy's classic motors at eye-watering prices. We got Bugattis, we got Bentleys, we got Toyotas, we've even got Fords. Nana Bargains used to drive a Ford, God rest her soul. Happy memories. 4-speed gearbox, leather interior. Anyway, Wheeler Dealer Wednesday, starting 24th of August, every Wednesday for next series. I've been Tommy Barkins. Good night and God bless.
Thanks so much, Tommy. There you have it, folks. Wheeler Dealer Wednesday will have a collection of Tommy's classic cars at rock bottom prices only in the Forza-thon shop. Moving on swiftly. Script, please. Let's stay on cars and move on to what cars are coming in Rami's racing history update. It is too warm in here for this. It's too warm in here. Chris, save me. What have we got?
So, as we've been teasing for this entire stream so far and not really talking to it at all, we have the brand new G82 BMW M4. So this is an entirely new M4 platform. So for just to cover it, the so used to be M3s, and then BMW for the last generation changed to the M4 being the two-door coupe, which we have here. And it's an entirely new generation, so new underpinnings, new engines. We're now up to new grille. Yeah, new grille. We're now up to 500 horsepower, which is absolutely mad for a. I was going to call it a two-door saloon, two-door coupe, but we know the M3 is a saloon car. Absolutely mad that that's 500 horsepower now. Excuse me, I've still got Tommy Bargains going through my brain.
Fresh on the mind.
Versus the old one, it's 0.2 quicker to 60, so it's now 3.7 seconds, and nearly 200 miles an hour. So it really is living up to that Super Saloon's bucket name that it lives in.
It's a lot of fun to drive.
Yeah, it's really grippy too. I was struggling to make it go sideways. Got to kind of really throw it in. Also got some really nice BMW options in the garage for it as well.
Lovely.
As you throw it quite aggressively into a bush.
Yes, I mean, that's what they're there for. It's to help you corner.
So what have we got next?
Oh, can I?
Mind if we scroll up?
Yeah, scroll up a bit. Scroll up.
Just so we
There
have
we go. Oh, no, yep.
There we go. So, do you want to jump into the next car?
Absolutely. So,
What is this? The BMW M3
So we have another BMW.
Ooh.
That one, yeah. So, M3 GTS. We have the normal E92 in the game. The GTS was like the track version. So it used to be, if you go back to the 46 generation, the CSL. For the E92, they kind of went with the GTS nomenclature. This car was kind of track orientated. It was 136 kilos lighter than the standard one. Had upgraded brakes, upgraded suspension, as you can see, aerodynamic mods with the wing on the back of it. And it still had that amazing, I think, 4.4 litre V8 that revs to, I want to say, like 8,500 RPM. I really like the E92 generation. I kind of really want one. And this is like the ultimate version of that, and it's in a fantastic colour as well, which I have a note for, just because we don't have Mike Brown here. He normally knows the colours of these. It's fire orange, this one. Only 150 examples, all of which came in that colour. Yeah, I really like this car. It's first introduced as a DLC car in Forza Horizon 1.
You might be thinking Chris saying he really wants one. That's like means it's a really big deal. But Chris wants a lot of cars.
I have a problem.
It's put it into a rare group of maybe 100 odd
World's
cars.
first
Several
100
hundred.
car. People not expecting.
I nearly traded the car for an E92 M3 a long time ago and regret it. So there we go.
okay, what have we got next?
So next up, so again tying back into the theme of this series, if you want to go along to Porsche, we have the 550A Spider. This car's actually got some significance to Mexico. Bottom right there.
Yeah.
So in 1953, this car won its class in the Panamericana Carrera. And Carrera, you might be thinking Porsche, Carrera, they're two names that go together. That is why Porsche used the Carrera name. It's a nod back to this car winning. One of the first major wins for Porsche as well.
That's very cool.
In the 1 litre to 1.5 litre class. And it's just super pretty.
I love that. They were like, we won that, and now we're taking it. It's ours.
Yeah.
Like, we own this now.
Do you know what I'm thinking looking at the back of the car? I'm thinking they're like the oven grills that you take out of the oven.
I'm sure,
thinking they're gonna be a
that's what Ferdinand Porsche was going
Yeah. What he said was, I want to win the race, pull up, and then cook some bacon on the back of it.
I'm thinking, if you don't get on top of the cleaning on those bad boys, that's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
You'll be scrubbing
Some
hard.
baking paper. Classic.
So yeah, really beautiful, iconic Porsche, this one. So should we move on to the next one?
It's very rarely that the word Porsche is not, started with beautiful, iconic, to be fair.
Yeah,
it's a lot of...
Porsche makes some fabulous cars.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh, too far.
That one.
Okay.
That one.
There we go. Holden the Commodore EK.
So,
I'm a celebrity owner for this.
Ooh.
for the HDT.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay,
You
fair.
carry, you know.
Oh, you're going to wait for the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, 1985 HDT, which you might be asking, why is it not under Holden? So this is a Holden dealer team. Yeah, got that right. Back in the 80s, the touring cars for the Aussie touring cars, I think they were called Aussie touring cars back then, were built by the Holden dealer team. So this was the homologated version of the race car. So in Group A era of racing, you had to homologate, I think there's 500 examples for this car. And it was the dealer team that actually homologated them. So the name of it is HDT to reflect that. The team was led by Peter Brook, who's also a very famous race car driver in Australia. And they ran it, the team for several years. Unfortunately, this one wasn't super competitive. It was right at that era where a lot of other OEMs were coming into Australia racing touring cars. So Nissan, BMW, Jaguar were all there. And unfortunately, this one didn't do as well. And in the following years, it was no longer HTT running it. It became HSV, which is a name we now know today, is still being used by Holden for Holden special vehicles. And that was run by Walkinshaw, TWR. I just love the look of this car as well. It's boxy, it's 80s, it's
a lot
cool.
of what I hate, I'm going to be honest.
You don't like boxy 80s
No,
cars?
I mean, very specific ones are okay, but like this is
It is
too
very
boxy.
boxy and 80s.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just reminds me of my dad's old Vauxhall Astra. I think it was like the classic shapes, like boxy.
Yeah, very similar.
Looks nothing like really. I mean, he had a saloon one, you know, the long ones, long boys. But is that saloon?
Boys.
Anyway,
Those long boy cars. Yeah.
That is what I know. It was a rusty long boy. There was an estate. There we go. I think that's the word.
Let me drop this celebrity
Yeah.
owner on you. So, Australian racing legend Peter Brock had one of these.
Yeah, he built them.
Oh. Celebrity owner still.
It's in the notes, Tom.
Chris, you can't give us the notes and then just point them out again.
I miss Tommy Bargains. Bring him back. Oh, all right. Well, should we move on to the last car then?
Yep. So to continue that theme of the homologation word, which we use quite frequently with cars, we have a soft spot for homologated cars. We have
Like
these.
homogenised cheese and homologated car. Similarities.
There are similarities there. So it's the one on the right, the Legacy RS 1990. So this was homologated for Group A rallying, and famously won 3 World Championships with Colin McRae at the wheel and Richard Burns, I think. In 1989, there's a brilliant story of the Legacy. As they were kind of building up to its racing kind of career, they did an endurance world record with it, where they drove. I have to check because I can't remember if it's 10,000 or 100,000. It's 100,000 kilometers they drove non-stop.
What?
Jesus.
Across. Right, I'm going to look at notes here because I can't remember all of it. 447 hours straight they drove this for.
That is mad.
With stopping every 2 hours to refuel it and do a driver change.
Right.
The average speed for that was like 138 miles an hour.
God.
So they were averaging 145, but when it rained, they had to drop the speed slightly to 135.
Oh.
In the rain.
In the
They
rain.
actually,
Only
so they actually made
130.
it.
So yeah, 100,000 kilometers
How much
non-stop.
they spent in fuel as well? I was thinking like every 2 hours.
Yeah.
That far, jeez.
And 145 mile an hour is, I think, the top speed of this car as well. So
Wow.
it's being driven flat out for that amount
Was
of
it
time.
even like at the end of that? It must have been absolutely wrecked. Like, just
Well, the fact it
Some help.
lasted is a true testament to
Yeah.
the reliability of Subarus.
It's probably roughly what you'd spend on filling up a small hatchback.
Nowadays, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, how times have
Yeah.
changed.
Wow.
yeah, when
true. Oh, well, there we go. Those are our five reward cars that we've had a little look at, as promised. We've got a few more things to go through as well, because we keep seeing that somehow people keep coming up with incredible Event Lab creations, and
What
it's
is up with
ridiculous.
that?
I'm
What
so
is up
fed
with
up of
that?
it. You people and your fantastic creations, both now in Mexico and in Hot Wheels. So is there anything new for creators there?
Yeah, so as you said, we're always constantly impressed. We now have even more impressive stuff coming through with Hot Wheels. So in this series, we're adding all of the Extreme props that you saw in previous series. So we've got the flags, we've got the billboards, and the battery, the collectible battery. So if you want to make some cool Event Lab creation, we have to collect batteries. So I'm not going to design it for you.
It almost feels
I'm
like
not going to
You're
do the
halfway
hard work
there.
for you. But yeah, if you want to
Sounds like every scrum we have, Tom.
a little insight into the development process. If you want to create something cool with that, that is going to be available in Rami's Racing History Update. Yeah.
Excellent. There you go. So any Event Lab creators out there, keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll see what creative things you can come up with the batteries. Very much look forward to finding those next Forza Monthly or next Forza Monthly. Let's go. Okay. Well, as we teased, if you were watching Forza Monthly, we have some things to talk about involving leaderboards. So it has been a while. Is there anything you would like to share?
Yes.
So it sounds like
if I said
Right, I was about to
Tom,
if I said
an
no, I
intervention.
think that would be that'd be not on really. So we wanted to give you an update on our long-term plans for keeping Horizon 5's leaderboards an honest and accurate measure of legitimate times within the game. We know the vast majority of leaderboard times are legitimate, so we don't want to just scorch the earth and delete all of those. But yeah, we are going to be starting with targeted deletion, attempting to filter out legitimate times versus illegitimate times and scores, especially where there was perhaps exploits within the game or there were bugs that were causing people to get dodgy times. That process is going to roll out in multiple phases over time to address the multiple types of suspicious times and scores that result from different types of exploits. We're working on the final details before proceeding with that first step of the process. So expect to share more information in the coming weeks. Really appreciate everyone being super patient with this. We know it's really important to people, but yeah, that's the leaderboard update.
Gotta do it right. Thank you for that. That is good to hear, and look forward to seeing where that goes. But any more updates and fixes?
Yes, we've got some updates and fixes. Let me just get my notes. So firstly, we've got people that have the Thrustmaster. This is going to be targeted at a very specific group of people. The people that have the Thrustmaster T248, we've done some integration with the heads-up display you can get on that wheel. So it integrates with the game, so you get your rev counter, you get your speed, and all sorts of fun things. It's really cool. I think it's... yeah, if you do have that wheel, you should check it out. Or go and get the wheel if you want that as well, and check it out. So that's going to be in the update. Then we've also got some bug fixes. So you'll remember back in Series 9, way back then, we had some issues with the treasure chests for PC players, but specifically in summer and autumn. So with this update, we're going to retroactively gold those, so you'll get the points, the associated points for the playlist. You'll also get the rewards from that if you check your series history. We fixed a bug that could cause players to return to Mexico rather than the Nexus in Hot Wheels after you relaunch the game if you're already there, which is kind of a bit frustrating. We fixed the bugs that could see the player placed in a different car when you relaunch the game, which again is very weird and frustrating behaviour. There was an issue where EVs were gaining excessive power, too much power. Some might say.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power. Yeah, this must be fresh news to you, Chris, right? Me reading this. That is now going to be fixed in Rami's Racing History update. We fixed the Mission Complete Hot Wheels achievement, not unlocking for some players. There was a bug where mag track audio could get stuck on when you went to the festival site in the Nexus in Hot Wheels. As great as that audio is, you didn't want to hear it constantly when you're in the festival site. And we fixed a bug where the mini-map would shake when on Hot Wheels, so that is also fixed. Wasn't intended. Hopefully that was obvious. There's other fixes as well. Please keep an eye out on the support site socials when the update goes live next week.
There you go. Thank you very much, Tom. And that is everything that's coming to Rami's Racing History, which we'll be releasing next week. But before we head off, have we got anything to tease around next time? Anything interesting?
Sneaky peeky weeky.
Sneaky peeky.
It would be great if there was a section of Festival Playlist that did that.
Oh my god!
Amazing.
Look at that. Wow.
So would you care to speak to the thing of interest?
So
You'll talk about new seasonal races.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
new cars, because
Yeah.
we never have new cars.
No.
We never have new
They're
cars.
And new challenges.
Literally.
So on Horizon 4, one of the kind of most requested things I got was new body kits, I think.
I think you got it on the stream. Yeah, I think we would ask you on the stream as well.
So like every stream I got asked
That was
that.
fun, wasn't it?
So for Forza Horizon 5, we are going to be introducing new car customization and specifically body kits through live. So next series is the first one where we're doing that, and expect more in the future as well.
How many have we got coming, Chris?
It's 2 next month.
2 body kits.
But they are really good ones.
They're really good
like these.
body kits.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Well, now you've set quite the standard, so good luck with that. I guess we will see next month, won't we? Well, thank you very much to our guests today, Torben, Chris, Tom, thank you so much, and of course Tommy, how could I forget, who sacrificed, bless his brave soul, his everything to sit in that heat with a leather jacket and a turtleneck on. That is...
He is just a really cool and chill guy.
Do we know where he went?
No idea.
Oh, well, we'll have to thank him. We'll find
We
him.
have to
We'll
ask
thank
Sifu
him.
where he went.
I could guarantee he has got a real bead on because it.
Oh, thank you so much to all of you for joining me. Thank you at home for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a great month. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.